Hello and welcome to another modelling video. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to hand paint with lacquer paints. On hand I have a half-scale Zaku 1 kit, a bottle of Mr. Mild retardant, automotive grade lacquer thinner, and the Mr. Hobby brand coloured kit for painting a Zaku 1 from Mobile Suit Gundam. As always, I'm going to have my pieces on pegs in a styrofoam board or cardboard board. These pieces are extremely small, so they're going to be very hard to grip on when I am hand painting, so these pegs are ideal since it's a ball and socket kit. First, lacquers have a very quick drying time, so I'm going to give it a very good stir to make sure all the pigments is diluted among the other fluids in the bottle by getting a toothpick and swirling around for a while. Pour a small amount of paint in a jar lid or metal dish like so. Then adding 1 part thinner to 2 part paint, and with the retardant just a few drops per several parts paint, or 1 drop for whatever. We're going to remix the mixture with the toothpick, making sure the retardant and thinner smoothly blends in with the paint and that the entire mixture is consistent. Now with a soft pointy bristled brush, we're going to apply this mixture on a primed surface of a piece. We're focusing on painting small areas like touch-up or detailing and not so much a whole kit. As a whole kit you'll need to use a different tactic. This particular mixture of paint is extremely easy to apply to a piece, and when you're brushing it across you're not going to see a lot of imperfections or brush strokes, so it's going to sit on the surface really smoothly. You're going to have a fantastic vibrant coat and it dries still very fast with the retardant in there. Be careful not to add too much retardant as this weakens the bond of the paint and it's going to rub off or damage in future after drying. Major elements to hand painting is detailing and to make sure you paint within the lines. Now this is only made possible with care of your brush. Every time you clean your brush you don't leave it sitting in a jar, and also you keep wiping it with tissue until you got a point. Only with a neat brush you're able to create neat detail. Also, due to the nature of the lacquer paint, it's going to dry on your brush, which could cause damage, so in between each piece or area of painting or detailing, clean it in the thinner and straighten the brush out just to keep the whole relationship moist and wet for a smooth flow. When painting areas that require different colours, line the paint around the area of the line where the two colours are to meet neatly, and then you fall backwards and colour in the rest of the piece as so. After that colour is finished, clean your brush so when you're rubbing it up against tissue or paper towel, no paint is removed from the bristles. You may have to dip it in thinner and rinse it out several times. Once a piece is painted and you allowed it to dry, when paint naturally dries, it goes from a wet consistency to almost a putty gooey consistency. This is extremely dangerous as if you handle it with your hands, you're going to leave impressions like fingerprints or damage on the surface which will dry like that and won't level out later. So give it the maximum amount of drying time required. In the image before, I've just touched dry lacquer paint. A really cool trick with this paint is once it's fully dry, you're able to add thinner and reconstitute it back into paint so you can use it later. You cannot do this with other paints, and it's also a good idea once a model is fully painted that you top coat it with acrylic so you won't accidentally damage it later if it does make contact with thinner. Another amazing attribute to this paint is it's very quick to paint a model as the drying time is a lot lower. I painted this small Zaku within 3 hours, including the filming of this tutorial, and after that drying period I detailed it with enamel and acrylic, top coated it, and I had a finished kit by the next day to handle. The downside of using lacquer paint in general is it's fairly toxic and you're best advised to paint in a well ventilated area, particularly when you're mixing other chemicals such as thinner and retardants. should definitely keep this paint out of reach of younger modelers. Another point is I find living in a Western country, due to the whole CFC and environmental acts, they're getting harder and harder to import, and occasionally automotive lacquer thinner is relabeled because it's generally frowned upon in this day and age. So make sure to look out for that, and if worse comes to worse, it will be relabeled as organic acrylic thinner. I hope this inspires you to try hand painting with lacquer thinner. If you were to do it on a larger surface, thin it down a little more and do multiple coats. Otherwise, small areas, single coat's perfectly fine. Thank you for watching, and until next time.